Man, I just had this awesome revelation, a moment of crazy, profound insight. So this person was trying to argue and say that the tribulation would come as prophesied, and then some days later that we wouldn't know of is when Jesus would return. And so I had to point out to them, well, what would the end of the tribulation be? Because according to the book of Revelation, the Antichrist and his armies are marching against the nation of Israel to destroy it. And before that can happen, Jesus shows up with us in tow as an honor guard. His coming in glory, he's got all these millions of people riding behind him on horseback. He doesn't need us. He's going to defeat the Antichrist anyway. But that part there marks the end of the tribulation, because Jesus is ending it with the defeat of the Antichrist. And then I said, well, wait a second. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I always thought about it as, you know, it says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And so it's talking about Jesus being at creation. Jesus is the Word, and he was at creation as part of the Trinity. Well, that makes sense that he would be calling himself the beginning of time, but he's not the end of time, because there is no end of time. We are going to be spending eternity with Jesus and God in heaven and on the new earth. So there is no end of time. So for the longest time I thought that that was what it referred to as the beginning and end, but that really doesn't make sense. So what is it that Jesus is the beginning and end of? Well, how about the church age? So the church age started when Jesus founded the church on the earth and setting the disciples out to tell people of the gospel and how they can be saved, how they can spend an eternity with him. That was the beginning of the church age. And so the end of the church age is when Jesus comes back in the rapture to take us home. So for one thing, he's the beginning and end of the church age. Number two, though, is that he is the beginning and the end of tribulation. The tribulation begins with Jesus when he opens up the scroll and reads the seals, and then when he rides in to wipe out the Antichrist armies. That is the end of the tribulation. So Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He is the beginning and end of the church age, and he is the beginning and end of the tribulation. Blew my mind. Subscribe to my channel for more biblical insights, end time prophecy, and uplifting content.